Hey guys, let's review Samsung HW Q70R. If you guys seeing my videos for first time, please hit that pause button and subscribe the channel. Let's get started. The Samsung HW Q70R is a versatile soundbar that does a good job reproducing most types of audio content. It has a neutral, well-balanced sound that makes it suitable for most uses, though it lacks a bit of bass. On the upside, this bar can get loud and it performs reasonably well at max volume. It supports Atmos content and uses two up-firing speakers on the bar to simulate height. However, it down-mixes surround content to stereo, so it won't provide the most immersive movie-watching experience. Overall, this well-built soundbar should please a wide variety of listeners. The Samsung HW Q70R refines the company's acoustic beaming technology and delivers immersive cinematic soundscapes thanks to support for Dolby Atmos and DTS:X soundtracks. As a result, this good-looking and well-specified soundbar is ideal for both movies and gaming. The Samsung HW Q70R is good for music. This soundbar has a well-balanced sound that should be suitable for most music genres. On the downside, it lacks a bit of sub-bass, which may be disappointing for fans of bass-heavy music like EDM and hip-hop. However, you can customize the sound of the bar using its 4 EQ presets and 7-band graphic EQ. You can also connect your devices to the bar using Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to wirelessly stream your favorite songs. Samsung's California-based Audio Lab has been on a roll, and the Samsung HW Q70R soundbar is no exception. In the last few years, the lab has helped the company put together the award-winning Samsung HW M650. Last year's powerful, Dolby Atmos-ready Samsung HW N850, and now the Samsung HW Q70R, a soundbar designed to keep up with the Korean giant's 2019 QLED TVs. If you've followed Samsung's naming structure in the past, the Samsung HW Q70R represents a revised version of last year's HW N650. And although the new model costs more at $800 or £800 or 1,099 Australian dollars, the good news is that the Q70R adds support for Dolby Atmos and DTS:X and still uses acoustic beaming technology that widens the soundstage. While Samsung has designed this bar to be used in conjunction with its Q70R QLED TV. Hence the rather confusing model number. It's also aimed at all movie fans and gamers in general, regardless of which TV they own. Not sure if you're ready for an $800 or £800 soundbar? Here's everything you need to know before making your decision. Design. Let's look into the design. The Samsung HW Q70R uses an almost identical design to the N650. Basically it's a slim and stylish soundbar with a low form factor that's only 59mm high. It has a build quality that's commensurate with its price tag and metal grills at the top and front, along with an attractive metal finish to the edges and sides. While primarily designed to pair with Samsung's 2019 QLED TVs, given its width of 1,100mm, it will complement most TVs and not just the Q70R. Even better, because of its low profile, it shouldn't block the screen. That said, if you'd prefer to wall mount the soundbar, Samsung includes dedicated brackets, screws, and paper template for that very purpose. On the front, there's a simple LED display on the right that lights up when you use the controls and provides basic information on the volume, inputs and sound modes. To the right of this display, on the end plate, are some equally basic controls for power, input selection and volume. The provided remote is the same one Samsung has been using with its soundbars for the last few years, and it gets the job done. It's ergonomically designed and has all the necessary buttons sensibly laid out, making setup and operation as intuitive as possible. The connections are located in a recessed area at the bottom of the soundbar and are composed of an HDMI input, an HDMI output with ARC, and an optical digital audio input. There's also a USB port for firmware updates, and a connector for the AC power adapter. The HW Q70R comes with a newly designed and much bigger wireless active subwoofer that measures 205 by 403 by 403 mm, weighs in at 9.8 kg, and has an 8-inch side-firing driver. The bar and sub should pair automatically, and you can tweak the bass levels using the remote. The sleek design and wide body will complement most TVs, and not just its namesake. While the speaker layout and beefed-up sub promise suitably immersive audio. The Samsung HW Q70R has a metal grille covering the top and the front of the bar. Though it has a slightly different look than the metal grille on the Samsung HW Q70R. The back and sides of the soundbar are covered with hard plastic. The sub for the Samsung HW Q70R is mainly made of wood. There's a thin fabric covering the speaker on one side, which could easily rip or get dirty. The port is on the back. The Samsung HW Q70R soundbar is a little less wide than the Samsung HW Q70R. It likely won't fit between the legs of most 55-inch TVs. However, it's also not very tall, so it shouldn't block your screen unless your TV sits flush on the table. The subwoofer in the Samsung HW Q70R setup is slightly smaller than the sub of the Samsung HW Q70R. It's roughly the same size as a typical desktop PC. It's also wireless, so you can move the sub anywhere in the room. The back of the bar has two openings for the inputs and the power cable. On the top side, at the back middle of the bar, there are touch-style control buttons. If you want to mount the bar, you'll need to use the universal holes on the underside and the included brackets. The back of the sub is wood, except for the plastic port. There's also a pairing button in the bottom corner. The Samsung HW Q70R soundbar has a great build quality. The metal grille and hard plastic materials give the bar a solid, premium look and help to protect the speakers inside. However, the thin fabric on the sub may attract dirt and dust, and it feels like it could rip easily. The interface is very simple. There's a small screen behind the metal grille. It displays the volume level and the input you're on. However, it's only a 4-character display, so you may need to wait for some messages to scroll to fully display. The controls are located on top of the bar. The touch-sensitive buttons include a power button, volume control, and a button that allows you to change the input. The bar's remote is the same as the one that comes with the Samsung HW Q70R. It allows you to control all the functions of the soundbar, but it can't be used as a universal remote. The Smartthings app connects easily to the Samsung HW Q70R soundbar. It allows you to control many of the bar's functions, and you can also use it to adjust the 7-band graphic EQ. However, it can't completely replace the remote because it lacks the center level and front top level adjustment buttons. Features. Now let's dive into the features. The Samsung HW Q70R uses a 3.1.2 channel speaker configuration, with a claimed frequency range of 35 Hz to 20 kHz and a total claimed power of 330 watts. There are 3 forward-firing speakers, which means the soundbar has a dedicated center channel for dialogue. It has a pair of upward-firing speakers that literally bounce sounds off the ceiling, thus creating the illusion of overhead channels. This is what Samsung refer to as acoustic beaming, and it can be very effective. Although for the best results you need a low, flat, and reflective ceiling. The .1 part of this system is the wireless active subwoofer. This newly designed bass reflex model uses a side-firing 8-inch driver, coupled with a rear port to deliver an impressive amount of bass extension for a bar and sub combination. The HW Q70 supports both Dolby Atmos and DTS:X, along with all their other variations aside from IMAX Enhanced DTS:X. The soundbar and subwoofer can deliver 3.1.2 channels out of the box. But those wanting to add rear channels can buy the optional SWA-8500S wireless speakers. This is the first of Samsung's 2019 soundbars to have been fully developed in conjunction with its Harman Kardon subsidiary. The main design and testing was still conducted at Samsung's Audio Lab in California. But Harman added its expertise and tuned the resulting system. Samsung has really stripped back the connectivity on the HW Q70R. But at least the HDMI ports can handle 4K/60p, 4:4:4, HDCP 2.2, and high dynamic range, specifically HDR10, HLG, HDR10+, and Dolby Vision. If we had one major criticism, it would be that a single HDMI input is disappointing at this price. It wouldn't be so bad if the soundbar supported eARC with lossless audio. But at least you can send Dolby Atmos back from the TV's built-in apps via HDMI ARC. There are 4 sound modes: Standard, Surround, Game Pro, and Adaptive Sound. The adaptive sound is a new feature that analyzes the incoming audio and adapts the acoustics to give you the best sound performance on a scene-by-scene basis using all the available channels. The standard mode leaves the audio as it was encoded. The surround mode adds a greater sense of envelopment to movies and TV dramas. While the Game Pro mode is designed to make you feel like you're in the world of the game. Speaking of gaming, if you use a PS4 or Xbox One and also have a Samsung TV, there are some very cool features. When the TV detects a game's console connected via HDMI, it automatically goes into game mode. At the same time, the soundbar will automatically select the Game Pro mode, resulting in a seamless gaming experience. You can use the Smartthings app to set up and operate the HW Q70R. And it also works with Amazon Alexa, providing access to Spotify Connect and hands-free control. Just make sure you rename it in Smartthings or Alexa won't know which device you're talking about. There's support for lossy and lossless audio formats including AAC, WAV, OGG, ALAC, IF and FLAC. Along with UHQ 32-bit upscaling for supporting devices. You have a choice of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. But unsurprisingly, you don't get Chromecast or Apple's AirPlay. The combination of Acoustic Beam technology and Atmos/DTS:X audio promises an immersive front soundstage that's perfect for movies. While other features also ensure a seamless gaming experience. This soundbar has an auto-off function that turns the bar off if no audio signal is detected for 18 minutes. It also has HDMI/SEX support, so you can control the basic functions of the bar using your TV remote. Performance. The Samsung HW Q70R delivers an impressive audio performance. With the kind of expansive and bold soundstage that lends itself to movies and games. When watching a film, the music is spread either side of the screen. And effects are placed with real precision across the front of the room, and dialogue is centered on the action. The upward-firing speakers are also effective, creating the illusion that sounds are emanating from above you. Meanwhile, the redesigned subwoofer gives the system a serious bass boost. Although this low-frequency slam is effectively integrated and never overpowering. The result is a veritable wall of sound at the front of the room. disc-like overlord. And the film's highly aggressive Dolby Atmos mix is delivered with all the force the system can muster. The opening parachute drop is a cacophony of sounds that surround the screen, creating a full frontal assault. And yet within the chaos of war, dialogue always remains clear and focused. Jurassic Park's DTS:X mix is a sublime masterclass in sound design. And the HW Q70 is more than up to the task of delivering this Dino classic. The rain falls all around you as the T-Rex attacks, the sub gives each giant footstep genuine weight. And her roar is as visceral as it is loud. There's no denying that this soundbar is sure to please any movie fan. When it comes to immersive audio, the only limitation to the performance is front-heavy nature of the overall sound. In fairness, this applies to any Atmos/DTS:X soundbar that doesn't use rear speakers. But it does mean the soundstage only extends into the first third of the room. Of course, you can always buy the optional wireless speakers if you want to fill out the rear channels. The various sound modes are disabled when the soundbar is decoding an Atmos or DTS:X mix. But they can be very useful with less immersive content. The adaptive sound mode proved particularly effective at enhancing just about any content, rendering dialogue in more detail and giving the crowds in sports broadcasts greater presence. The same goes for the surround mode, which can take content and use the overhead channels to create a more enveloping experience. The Game Pro mode is equally as impressive, thrusting you into the world of whatever you're playing. A cheeky session of Red Dead Redemption 2 had us swatting flies from our face and diving for cover as bullets ricocheted around the room. No doubt thanks to Harman Kardon's involvement, the HW Q70R is also a great soundbar when it comes to music. Select the standard sound mode, and it will deliver 2-channel audio with surprising subtlety. Listen to Kate Bush and her vocals are delivered without sounding bright. Put on some Nick Cave and the sub adds more gravel to his voice. This powerful bar and sub combo delivers a big and bold soundstage that makes movies and games more immersive. It's surprisingly musical too, and although the sound is rather front-heavy, that's to be expected given the lack of rear speakers. Samsung has cleverly positioned the HW Q70R into a niche in the market where there is very little direct competition. As a result, this 3.1.2 channel soundbar has been priced accordingly, and while not cheap, it certainly does enough to justify the cost. It's solidly built, has a host of features, and supports Dolby Atmos and DTS:X. The performance is excellent, and that burly sub helps differentiate this soundbar from competitors. Speaking of competitors, however, the Sony HZ-F9 remains a good choice, especially if you're on a budget. This soundbar and wireless sub combo, which can be picked up for around £650, also supports Dolby Atmos and DTS:X. However, it doesn't use upward-firing speakers, relying instead on psychoacoustic trickery to create an immersive experience from 3.1 channels. The most obvious direct competitor comes in the form of the LG SL8YG. In fact, it's almost identical with the 3.1.2 channel configuration, plus support for Dolby Atmos and DTS:X. In terms of differences, the tuning is by Meridian, there's Chromecast, and LG offers Google Assistant built-in. The wireless sub isn't as big, but considering it's £100 less, it's certainly worth consideration. The Samsung HW Q70R soundbar has a very good stereo frequency response. It has a well-balanced sound profile that makes it suitable for most music genres and dialogue-heavy content. However, its bass doesn't extend quite as deep as the Samsung HW Q70R or the Samsung HW QA800T. So it may not reproduce the deepest thumps and rumbles found in bass-heavy music and movies as well. You can also use the 7-band graphic EQ to customize your sound. The Samsung HW Q70R has a decent stereo soundstage performance. It sounds about as wide as the bar itself, but it doesn't do any tricks to make it sound wider than that. It has a good focus, so it's easy to pinpoint the location of objects in the stereo soundstage. The Samsung HW Q70R can get loud and will be suitable for large rooms and crowded environments. At max volume, there's a little bit of compression in the bass and treble ranges, but you likely won't notice it with real-life content. The Samsung HW Q70R's DHD performance is good. At a normal listening volume, there isn't a lot of distortion, so audio should sound pure and clean. However, at max volume, there's a slight jump in DHD, especially in the high bass range. However, this distortion is still within decent limits and is very difficult to hear with real-life content. This 3.1.2 setup has an excellent center channel performance. The Samsung HW Q70R has a dedicated center channel, which results in a clearer and more accurate reproduction of dialogue found in TV shows and movies. The Samsung HW Q70R has subpar sound enhancement features. There isn't a room correction feature, so the bar may sound different depending on the room you're in. If you don't like dramatic changes in the volume between commercials and the show you're watching, you may be disappointed by the lack of a night mode feature. Fortunately, you can customize the sound of the bar based on what you're listening to thanks to the 7-band graphic EQ and presets. The Samsung HW Q70R has fantastic support for audio content over its HDMI ARC port. It supports Dolby Digital and DTS, which is great for watching movies and Netflix content. It also supports eARC, so you'll be able to play lossless surround formats as well. This soundbar has several of the most common inputs, thanks to its HDMI ports. It can be used as a hub for different devices, such as your game console and your Blu-ray player. However, you won't be able to play audio directly from a USB or a connection. The Samsung HW Q70R supports both Dolby Digital and DTS content via optical. These formats are commonly found on Blu-ray discs and streaming platforms such as Netflix. The Samsung HW Q70R has amazing audio format support. It can play audio from most sources, including Blu-ray discs and popular streaming platforms like Netflix. The Samsung HW Q70R has very good wireless playback connections. You can connect the soundbar wirelessly to your mobile devices, such as a phone or a tablet, using a Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi connection. This allows you to use the bar to play your favorite music from your smartphone even when the device isn't connected with a cable. The Samsung HW Q70R can pass through the highest bandwidth signals. So if you want to connect the bar to your TV and your PC, the text on the screen will still appear clear and crisp. The sub connects wirelessly to the soundbar. It also has an input for its power cord. The Samsung HW Q70R is another great soundbar from a company that has made some serious advances in the audio arena over the last few years. Bringing Harman Kardon into the fold has certainly paid dividends. With a soundbar and subwoofer system that's extremely musical. However, it's with movies that it really shines. Thanks to a 3.1.2 channel speaker configuration and support for Dolby Atmos and DTS:X. The upward-firing drivers are highly effective, dialogue retains crystal clarity, and the redesigned sub delivers some seriously deep bass. The resulting soundstage is big and open, lending itself to larger screen sizes. The overall effect is somewhat front-heavy, but that's to be expected given the lack of rear speakers. However, once you take into consideration the looks, build quality, and features, this is a solid mid-range combo. Enjoyed the video. You guys can initiate a discussion in the comment box if you have any different opinions about the contents in this video. Be the first to start the debate in the box below. Purchase links related to the products in this video are kept in description. We will be grateful if you could please make your next purchase from that link, as this will help us to grow our channel. Good morning, good evening and good night, whichever part of the world you are from. Don't forget to subscribe to stay connected. I will assure you to make quality and interesting videos in future. This is Jason Peter, signing off.